Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a very exciting, action packed episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people where we talk about critical issues in the blindness community. I'm Aaron Richmond. I'm, as you can tell, really excited for this one tonight. But before I tell you who the special guest is, don't forget this podcast, like all others, is of course copywritten by me, Aaron Richmond, and Aaron's Opinion. Thank you. Don't forget you can listen to us right here on YouTube, as many of you do. Don't forget we're on iTunes and anywhere you would get a podcast. Don't forget follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and even consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page. Aaron's Opinion 6 at gmail.com is the email. Telephone number, send in a text contribution or even a voicemail, or just get in touch with me either way. 1-240-681-9869. Don't worry, it's not my real number. And now, ladies and gentlemen, every episode I say it's truly an honor. But this one, I'm especially excited and proud of myself for getting this one on the air for you. From 94.1 FM, Frogtown Community Radio, WFNU. Ladies and gentlemen, Connor from Connor's Corner. Welcome to Aaron's Opinion. How are you doing? Go right ahead.
I'm doing great.
So, well, one of the things that is truly inspirational about podcasting is our ability to connect with other successful, podcasters. And as I've come to understand, your radio show, you have a radio show, and basically you help people who are autistic and you help people with disabilities to have the chance to have their own radio show. So why don't you, if you want, get into it and start telling us, how you got into all of this and everything that you guys do. So go ahead, Connor.
Well, my show is for people with disabilities, and
I'll
we,
help. Go ahead, Connor. And I'm Scott. I'm Connor's sidekick, so I can help him out too a little bit. Well, it's really for everyone, right, Connor?
yeah, it's for everyone.
But Connor happens to be, well, tell him a little bit about yourself, buddy.
I am 21. I work at Lunds and Byerly's in St. Paul.
And you have your own radio show.
Yep.
And he just so happens, Connor's a person with autism too.
Exactly. So Connor, I am 29 years old. I happen to be blind. And I've been into podcasting for about a year. On my podcast, I cover critical issues in the blindness and disability community, and sighted people, and everyone is welcome on my podcast. So, I guess my first question is, so what did you think when you had this opportunity on Frogtown Community Radio to get your show going? Could you talk about how you got into it and the ups, the downs, the challenges, all of that?
Well, I started as with the first recorded show. I was like, am I gonna get it on a live version? And I quickly took off from there.
I can help with that a little bit. So Connor and I, when he first had this idea, we did just a 10-minute recorded show just to see if he liked it or how it would go. And instantly it was very clear Connor was a star and certainly had a voice that people needed to hear for multiple reasons. And the people at WFNU immediately said, this is a show we want to put on live. And you do, Aaron, you do a show, and it's not just anyone could just get behind a microphone and talk, especially for an hour or however long it is. And Connor's just a natural, and you listen. So he just brings so many different things to so many different people.
Exactly. And what really pleases me is your willingness to help others. And that's so important, having nothing to do with us overcoming our disabilities, but just in general, anytime where I see a broadcaster, podcaster, news personality like you, Connor, anytime I see someone doing the right thing and helping others, that's someone that I want on my podcast. We need more of those people. We don't have enough of those people, So can you talk a little bit? I mean, one of the most interesting things that I've read up on your website is that you have a nonprofit that does many things, but basically from my perspective, it helps people with this. It helps to do two things. It helps people with disabilities have their own radio show, and it seems like you guys do a lot of important charitable work that benefits the community of St. Paul. Why don't you talk about that?
We do, we benefit. You go ahead, Scott. You want to talk about it?
Sure, and then you can help me out, Connor. So we just had our Connor, not we, Connor just had his big 1 year anniversary show, and in conjunction with that, he and his family started a nonprofit. But tell him, and the goal was to raise is still to raise $25,000. But Connor, tell Aaron and everyone listening, what are some of the things that you're looking to do with the money, and why it's such a worthy cause?
Well, we want to contribute to money to people with disabilities.
And how will that help people with disabilities? Like
That
just
will
some of
get
the things.
them, that will get them jobs.
Yep. So people with jobs and transitioning into, you mentioned earlier to me, Connor, apartments and housing, right, bud? Connor?
That will get them jobs.
Yeah, jobs and maybe transition into living, away from their home. So, Connor does this. Like I've said a couple of times, incredibly entertaining. But Connor loves people, loves to talk to people, loves to help people, and really cares about people. And his big what do you always say, Connor, about being people's friends? That
I
put you on
don't,
this.
I don't really know.
He
Oh,
doesn't really.
I know
Yeah.
what you say. I know what you say. As a podcaster, I do my homework. You say a friend is the nicest thing you can ever
Yep.
have and the nicest thing you could ever be.
He does do his
Amen.
homework.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, baby.
Yep.
That's the type of thing that just makes me want to include you on my podcast.
It's
Even
awesome.
if you were even if you know what, even if neither one of us had a disability, any podcaster that says something so kind and true and accurate deserves to have a podcast and deserves to have a radio show and deserves support. That statement alone makes me vote for you because it's true. It
Yeah,
really
and
is.
Yeah.
that's just not a statement. That's how he lives his life. He's almost like you joke that he's almost like the mayor or the governor. He walks up to people all the time. Hey, how are you? I'm Connor. And it just there's not a nicer, friendlier person in the entire universe than this guy that is on your show right now.
Maybe well, okay. Well, I'll make a note of that next time I get all my rude and angry guests. I'll just come over to you guys. Hey,
Yeah,
I need some inspiration. I just had a lot of rude and angry people, but no, all of my guests have been kind people. I find that there is a correlation that generally the people on podcasts and in broadcasting and news and media, the vast majority are super kind people.
oh yeah,
When you're fair with them, kind to them, you give them a chance to tell their story. 99% of the time, I've never had any problem.
no,
So
no,
but back to something really really important and really philosophical that we in the blindness community talk about this all the time. I believe you 1,000% that you're going to use your 501c money to help people with developmental disabilities transition and get jobs and everything like that. Here's the kind of the philosophical here's the philosophical mountain that has to be climbed and surmounted here is that this is what is often that what you guys do and what you say, it's often what is said in the blindness community. And in my opinion, blind people have a lot of these same struggles and a lot of these same similar obstacles, and a lot of times don't get support. So really, exactly after you get the money, how are you going to make it work? Where are we going to get the verb? Where are we going to get the oomph, the motor to actually make sure that it's walking the walk, always walking the walk and never talking the talk? What do you guys think?
I think it's a good idea to walk.
yeah. Well,
Right.
Connor and his
Sure.
family, when Connor and his family decided to do this, they obviously had a purpose and a reason, but they didn't do this just for fun. This means a lot to him, and Connor's parents are awesome. And Connor goes to, and I'm not sure in the the blind community if there's lots of different organizations and maybe when you were younger things groups that you attended, and Connor's attended different groups and organizations that's helped him educate him and things like that. And so this is just a very, very important thing to him and his family. And they wouldn't be undertaking this task unless they meant every word of it. So I don't know the exact plans. They've only done this a couple months now, but I know that they're very involved with the community and they will put it to good use. And the cool thing is you're finding out, as you know, about having your own show is, once you have your show, you know, part of having a show, you have to go get guests. But also part of having a show and having a following, people find you, like you found Connor.
Hmm.
So I have there's lots of people out there that need some help, and I'm sure we'll be.
Oh, definitely. It's 100% true. Yeah, I've only been approached one time by someone to come on my show. Usually, I'm at the point where I have to do some of the networking and
Mhm.
reaching out, which I certainly don't mind. It's a lot of fun and very interesting. I've only been approached once by a guest. So people are really shy about me. I don't know. Am I really that scary? Apparently, because people are.
I you, you seem awesome to me. What do you think, Connor?
I think he's awesome.
Yeah. If you need any references, you got Connor.
well, well, well,
I mean,
good.
me
Or
too.
well, if it's, see, I'm getting the feeling that if I need anything else done, I'll just call you guys. I just won't. I'll just use you
Absolutely.
guys.
No, this
Hey,
is just
you guys will start solving all my problems, right? We'll solve everybody's problems just by having a show.
well,
It's
part of
really
Connor's
Yeah.
easy.
show. We do take calls, as you know, and part of Connor's show is Connor. He's there to solve problems if people have them. So yeah, he's there to serve. He's there to serve the community,
Oh,
right, bud?
and me
Yeah.
too,
No,
Dustin.
you're doing an awesome.
Thank you.
I listen to one of your shows too. It's awesome, both of you. I'm honored and proud to be on any kind of show, radio show, podcast with you two because everyone deserves a voice. To your point earlier, it's not you're not always given a chance, and the right people don't always get a voice. And I'm just honored to be with you two right now.
Well, thank you. Yeah, but Connor, I think you were saying some. I think you were saying something about something. I think.
Oh, about the money or
No, 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 or that, or any of it. But well, anyway, well, so that yeah, so that is good. So um, what? Yeah, so what have been some of the? I mean, I've gotten every interesting guest and every interesting call in the book. But what about you? What have been some of your most unusual calls or most unusual experiences you've had? While recording your shows there.
I don't have unusual things.
Why don't you tell Aaron some of the people you've interviewed though? We have dude, you have unusual things all the time happen. That's just
Yeah.
part of
Oh,
the we have a blast. But tell them some of the people that you've got to interview in just a year. I think you'd be
well,
pretty
I've
pretty impressed.
interviewed John Anderson, the head baseball coach at the University of Minnesota,
Hmm. Okay. Great.
and I've interviewed Dan O'Brien, the head coach of St. Thomas Academy.
Tell them about some of the politicians we've had on.
Had Jim Abler,
He's a
John
state senator.
Hoffman.
State
Yep.
senators who are very involved with people with disabilities.
Good. Good.
How about we had the Secretary of State on the week before the election. That's pretty good
And we
interview.
had Irv Smith Jr.,
Some football players.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson.
So yeah, football player for the Minnesota Vikings. So Connor's gotten this crazy opportunity to interview lots of celebrities.
Oh, I forgot another one, Lou Nanny.
Yeah, Lou Nanny's a local hockey guy. So he's had a lot of interviews for just a short year. Uh, so he's had a lot of really awesome experiences. Some live shows. He's singing and dancing at his live shows, signing
We
autographs.
should do a show in Rome.
Did you say in Rome?
Yeah, we should do one in Rome.
No, I'm not doing much. How about you, Aaron?
Rome, as in Italy.
Yep.
Okay. Well, but
Will the Pope be there?
wait a minute. Oh, I have a better question. If you could ask the Pope one question, what
Yeah.
would you ask?
I would ask. I have to learn his languages.
He
Well,
speaks
let's assume he knows yours.
He speaks
Yeah, no.
English. He speaks
He
English.
speaks English?
Yeah.
I would know. I would talk. I would tell him.
Well, tell Aaron you've been to the Vatican though, right?
I've been to the Vatican. I
So
saw
tell
the
him.
Pope.
Tell him.
I saw the Pope when I was
Really?
up close to a disability mass, and I was there and I saw the Pope. I almost shook his hands.
Wow.
I know, isn't that awesome?
Holy moly. Yeah. And how did you get your note to get into the Vatican? There's a rumor that you have to have special permission to walk in there.
Yeah, I just had my dad hired we had a special tour of the Vatican.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
You know,
I mean, I have been to Italy one day. I went to a small city called Ventimiglia where everyone
oh,
speaks French. My second language is French. It's a bit of a long story, but I've
wow.
been to Italy for one day. I've never been to the Vatican thing, but it's interesting though, for sure. For sure.
Connor's a
Yeah.
world traveler. He's been around.
Oh, me too.
The one thing I will say, if I interviewed the Pope, I would say, "Hey, have you heard about how you dealing with the COVID crisis and all that?"
I see. I see. Yeah, I've traveled all over the world as well. I actually lived in England for 3 months studying abroad when I was in university.
Wow.
I've been to France 3 times. I've been to Amsterdam. It's a wonderful place to go for anyone. Amsterdam, Germany, Poland, Austria, Czech Republic,
Wow.
Swaziland. Swaziland, it's near South Africa. I've been all the way to Africa. Eastern Caribbean, St. Lucia. I've been all over.
That sounds good right about now. St.
Yeah,
Lucia.
yeah.
It's getting
It's
cold.
a very interesting
What would you
society.
ask the Pope if you could?
Me, I
Yeah.
would ask. Well, I would say something to the fact of. I would ask some sort of a philosophical question. I would ask something to the effect of, I would say, and when you talk to the Pope, his title is of course Your Holiness. I would say, Your Holiness. Oftentimes in life, we are plagued with the crisis of never truly knowing if we should only help ourselves and do what's right for us, or only do what's right for others. To who should we help? Do we only
Wow.
help other people around us, or do we simply better our lives and give ourselves more knowledge?
Wow.
And
Interesting.
and to that, the Pope, who knows, probably wouldn't respond. But who knows?
Well,
Who
you never
knows?
know.
Who knows what type of answer they would come up with? I don't know. But I would
Connor,
ask a philosophical question like that.
Connor,
We would have to get an appointment first.
Yeah. You can make anyone's dreams
yeah,
come true. You guys will set that up. I just have to show up, right?
I might need a
I,
little help. I'm Jewish, so Connor would have to get me in. But right, Connor?
yeah, do you know some people that can get
Do you know
connected
people
to the
that know
Pope?
people to get us to see the Pope? Connor's very religious. He loves church, and was pretty upset here when COVID first hit, and they closed.
Yeah.
We actually had our churches were closed for a while here.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. So how did that, Connor, how did that affect you? Of course, it affects everyone, but I think I've heard a lot about this from other blind podcasters and other blind people. It's really affected people all over the community. What about you, as in the
It
COVID?
affected me when I didn't go to church.
Good. Well, Connor, I appreciate that. I mean, I do not go to church. I'll tell you guys a little bit more. I'll tell you privately about that off the air. But I don't go to church. But I love the fact that you do, and I love the fact that you're upset that you can't go. I think that speaks volumes to your commitment to society. It really does, and it's so important to volunteer and to help out with your church. A lot of people go to church because A, they love God, and B, they love helping their community. And there's a lot of volunteering that people at churches do. I know it because I've seen it. It's really important. Yeah. So now, silly or strange question. You guys are in Minnesota.
We are
I'm in, as I say, my undisclosed location.
okay.
And that's a long and disturbing story
Hey,
for off the air for another time. But um, so like who this question is somewhat nonsensical, but who runs the churches in Minnesota? Are they just church? Who is the authority? I mean, I know there's no authority for churches, but
sure,
you know what
sure.
I'm saying? Yeah.
Connor, do you want to tell him?
I think the governor.
No. Well, we have the archdiocese, and
Okay.
that basically do. There's the cathedral, which is by the state capitol, and so the archdiocese runs the churches and the Catholic schools in general, I should say. So
They
I
don't.
don't
They
know.
don't.
I'm the Jewish one, so I'm only telling you a little bit of what I know. But
They don't
they,
run it. They don't run SDA.
well, they have say. They do have say in the Catholic schools. They definitely do. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I would ask it because I'm trying to figure out whose, this isn't even phrased the right way, but whose business is it if the church is open or not?
oh,
Is it
that was
some
that.
authority? Is there some authority that decides you are not allowed to have services? Because I
Yeah,
was
that
under
was
the impression,
Connor's
right?
right. That was the governor. That was the governor who
Okay, so
basically shut.
in your particular state in Minnesota, the governor does have that power
He
to shut
does.
down a church. I see.
And
Huh.
that's a battle. That's a battle that
Church and state, right?
yes, church and state and restaurants and state and schools and state. It's a. I mean, listen, it's a COVID. It's a horrible thing and a struggle, but that's kind of locally a struggle that Connor and I talk about all the time on the show, and just in general, the governor has a lot of power and tough job, but a lot of power, right, Connor?
Yeah, too much.
Yeah, Connor thinks too much, so that's why he's giggling. But yeah, so that's kind of so the governor can shut churches down, and he did, and that was tough on a lot of
Hmm.
people. They are
Well,
still open now.
well, Connor, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know if I was a governor, I would struggle with that because, on one hand you have, and I'm giving out my opinion, you have the medical side of it where you have to keep people safe, right? If you're a leader, you have to keep your citizens safe. But then we also know that when people are together and pray, they're happier. And then if you're happier, you're healthier.
Right.
So then it's like, as we say philosophically, damned if we do, damned if we don't. Either way, there's no good choice. You just have to make the one that's least bad. So that's interesting. I don't go to church. B, in my state, I don't know specifically how those laws in my local state play out. How the politics between church and state play out is always interesting. But I certainly hope you guys can get back to your services and back to church soon. I completely support that, provided that everybody's healthy and is willing to,
Yeah.
you know,
And Connor's going to
yeah,
church. Churches are
yeah.
open now,
Well,
so
good.
yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay, good. Now, you know, with podcasting and radio, we can reach people all over the world. I've reached people that I don't even know in all the continents, really. So, how many different countries have participated in Connor's Corner? How many countries have you guys noticed down there in the chat on your lives?
Connor, do you know the answer to this?
I don't know.
I know we've had people. So part of Connor's show, and Connor, give out your website real quick.
ConnersRadio.org.
And there's lots of cool stuff on there. And part of Connor's show is Connor has T-shirts, and we're gonna get you one of those, Aaron. I promise you. And people take pictures in his
Oh,
shirts and send them, and we post them. And I believe we've got some pictures from people in England and possibly Ireland. Am I making that up, Connor? Is that true?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So we think we have some people in England and Ireland, and we found you in parts unknown, and kind of show people seem to find them all over the we call it the hottest show on the planet, so all over the planet.
it truly is. Absolutely is. Yeah. I mean, I look at my analytic chart thing, and it shows the flags,
Sure.
the fun with flags concept, but that's all estimations. You never really know. And really the most powerful listeners and the most important and the most valuable are those who are silent. The people
Right.
who are too scared to call into a radio show. It takes courage. I mean, as a broadcaster, I'm able to do it, but I do understand there are probably, Connor, there are probably a lot of people in our situation at home who love your show but are just too afraid to call in and share their story. And it's really important to try to connect, with all of them, all at once, as time permits, as you can. Do you guys, Connor, do you do like any kind of like Zoom meetups where like your fans from all over the world can like sort of come into one thing and like talk to you? Or have you utilized Zoom much to do those types of things?
We have for interviews, we have.
Right, but I mean, like, what's even the word? Like a Zoom up, a Zoom meet, a Zoom
Yeah.
Zoomathon, or I'm just making up English here.
No,
but-
that's a we do have Facebook Live now, which is how you
which is how
found
I
Connor.
follow. But a lot of people don't watch on Facebook. There's a lot that prefer
Yeah.
other platforms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's a great idea. We haven't done anything like that. Now, full disclosure, Connor and I just talk. We're not very good at the technical part of this, so Connor and I are good at chatting and talking and goofing around. But that's a great idea. Because to your point, there's a lot. I will say one thing. To your point, Connor also once a month, a young man named Daniel Hood, who's
In the comments today. Yeah.
yes, and he maybe about 2 months ago he's found Connor's show and started watching it and listening, and was very nervous and got the courage to call and kind of explain a little bit about his situation and got to know Connor, and they do a show once a month now together, speaking about a lot of these same things. So you sort of hit the nail on the head. Today we had two young men with autism that Connor knows call in. One has called in a couple.
Scott and Sam Hessler.
Yep, Scott and Sam, and Scott was very nervous the first time he called. Now he's very comfortable when he calls. So to your point, there's so many more out there that we hope reach out and like I said, Connor's here for everyone, and that's what makes the show. We have a lot of fun and do some silly. We talk about sports, and Connor sings at the end. Do a lot of silly things, but
I love that. I love
yeah,
that.
there's a lot of really meaningful things in between that come
That's
up.
why
so.
and I have fun watching, and that's why, as having nothing to do with my show, as an audience member, I just love the content. I just enjoy every Monday. I know what time to watch. I know what time you guys are coming
Awesome.
on. It's kind of an awkward time. It's an interesting time.
Yeah, we know.
It's an interesting time. I don't know. I tend to think that it would be interesting to see as an experiment. Not that it's not a good idea. It's not a good enough idea to do, but it would be interesting to see if you guys did your show 12 hours later, or even 6 hours, or even 6 hours. Okay, even 6 hours later. Reason I say it is maybe you would get different listeners from different parts of the world who would still benefit. I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know.
You do
Yeah.
know. You're very, very wise. Last week after our show, not today, but last Monday after our show, we sat around for half an hour discussing exactly what you just said and ways to maybe bring a different audience in. And so I think down the road we might be doing some special, maybe a night show, once in a while, or maybe a Saturday morning show. And we're well aware.
Midnight?
Connor, maybe we'll do midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. We'll do it. We'll do a telethon.
Well,
I don't know.
no. See,
No.
Midnight. We aren't doing, because I have to be in the audience, and I don't watch shows at midnight.
No, it wouldn't be midnight. But we talked about exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, down the road we're gonna maybe mix the time up here and there, and try exactly what you said, because it is an interesting time. Because the live part is pretty cool, but then it turns into the podcast part where people can't participate quite as much. So
Sure,
you're right on.
You can replay the video. You can still comment below, and they'll still
Yep.
see it.
Yep.
So don't ever feel, if you're watching me live, him live, don't ever feel like, oh, I missed the live, I can't comment. No, definitely comment after the fact, even if
Yes.
it's after the fact. Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, guys, I just have time. I think. Hold on here. I think
Okay.
I'm at some sort of a. Well, no, in that case. So guys, we're coming towards the end of my show.
Sure.
Connor, it was a tremendous honor to have both of you on my show. I love to put my guests on the spot. If each of you could only ask me one question, what do you want to ask?
Connor, you go first. You're smarter than me.
When is your next show?
Oh, that's easy.
When I publish this one and send it back to you guys, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Yes, great, Connor. Yes, and you.
Okay, so what's one question? Would you change anything about yourself?
I wish I had gotten into podcasting sooner, because I love everything about it.
Awesome.
If someone wants to get in touch with you guys, how do they go about doing that?
Well, Connor, do you want to give your website one more little plug?
ConnorRadio.org.
So it's ConnorORadio.org. I'll spell it.
I
Okay.
got it. I'll
Yep,
put the
and-
link. Click the link in the description for more information. Exactly.
Everything is on there. All of Connor's old shows, links to Twitter, to Facebook, all the links, everything. Katie, who does the show with us,
Does a magnificent job, by the way. Love the way she was able to connect with me. That was so good.
yeah, and Connor's website has a lot of really cool, fun things, pictures, and all that good stuff. And I mean, I can tell you from my end, like I said earlier, I'm honored to be on here with both of you. I get the pleasure of sitting by Connor every week, but it was a pleasure to meet you, Aaron. And hopefully you'll keep calling Connor up. We'd love to hear from you.
That's exactly the problem you just have now. I'm not going to stop calling. You don't
Good.
you don't know what you don't know what you got yourself. You guys got into a thing now. I know how this thing works now. I got
Awesome.
the number. You have my complete support now. So I mean that from the bottom of my heart, guys. And well, I tell you what, Scott, if you could, or any of you, stay on the line if you can. I just want to end it here.
Yeah, we'll
I'll
stay on.
explain it in a second. Guys, I want to take this time to say thank you to everybody who came out today in this incredibly exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion. I tremendously appreciate it. As Connor would say, as I would say, and as we all believe, a friend really is the nicest thing we can have, just like a friend like Connor. God bless you, mate. And of course, a friend is the nicest thing you can be. Help someone out. And as I like to say on this podcast, I wish you all very good health. Help one person today. Help 1 million people tomorrow.